Hey everybody, welcome to week 9 of this series, creating piano tutorials and piano performance videos. We are excited. This is the last session of the advanced meetings. So today we are going to just kind of wrap everything up. We're going to ask you questions, find out what you liked most about this, what was most useful. And today's session is actually called project-based learning, which means everything that you've learned is kind of for nothing if you don't actually go out and create some videos. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is creating videos. We're also going to give you some final tips on what you can do to keep your skills up, and when you don't know something, how to find the answers. So let's go ahead and jump into what are you going to do with this now that you've learned? Now, there are a lot of piano teachers here that and students even who are going to be watching this, and they have their own reasons to do it. It may be that you want to create a video for your student to immortalize a project, a song that they've learned, or to get them inspired to learn a piece. It may be that you are teaching at a university and you have a student who's going to go into teaching at a university, and they need to put together a really cool video that demonstrates their performance ability. And you want them to look really good. So you want to help them get a job. It may be that you're trying to sell your piano services, and so you're marketing it. So you want to create a tutorial that looks really good and it captures the attention of people, so you can get some more customers. It may be that you just want to create a video of you performing for your posterity, for your kids, or it could be just a million different reasons. I'm going to share my screen really quickly, and I'm going to talk about where you can find the YouTube competition, because we've created an outlet that anybody can use, and it is now free. So you can do some videos and have a purpose that you can put your videos in. Now, Joel, you've been doing this this Piano Marvel YouTube competition for years. What are your thoughts on the benefit of doing a project like this? What have you seen?
Well, I think one of the things that sticks out to me is that it gives a really great way for the students to see how they've progressed over time. It's one of the things that I think really has that long-lasting benefit of, being able to sit down with a student and say, hey, look at this performance from 2 years ago or 3 years ago of you playing this song. And it gives the students some perspective of how far they've actually come. So the YouTube competition that we do every year has been a great way for these students who have participated year after year to see just how much they've progressed over that amount of time. I would say it's also really great for family and friends. My daughter did one years ago. It was one of our first ones we did. I can't remember exactly how many years ago, but she's 18 now, but at the time, I think she was 7 or maybe 8. And just to go back and see her, playing the piano as a little 8-year-old girl, is something that's, as a parent, really, really special as well. So, it's, I think it can be inspirational for the students. I think it can help them and the families understand why all those sacrifices have been worth it over time. And for me, I feel like that's a huge part of the value of doing it in the first place.
You can see my screen now.
Yes.
Yeah, so I did a search for Miley Garner YouTube competition. I could put Piano Marvel competition, and it's so cool to actually go back and see the date on it. So in 2020, she did this one. This is way back in 2013. She was so tiny and adorable. To me, this is invaluable. Like, I can't express what a value this puts on piano lessons in the years. But it's also been highly motivational. Like for Miley to say, hey, I want to work really hard and practice something. She worked so fast. I'll tell you a quick story of this particular song that she did. I don't think I shared my audio. I need to share that really quickly. So share my screen audio. This one here. This is not the one. That was actually a fun project too. Different one. It's this one here. She actually picked up, and it was 2 weeks before the competition deadline. And I said, Miley, we didn't get your piece recorded. You should learn a piece. So she did this. And I said, I know you can't do the right hand and the left hand together. So what I want you to do is just learn the left hand and then learn the right hand. You're going to record the left hand, and then you're going to record the right hand on top of it. And then we're going to do some video tricks to make it look like you can play hands together. And what ended up happening was she learned this piece, hands together, which I didn't think she was even close to pulling off, especially in that 2-week time frame. I'll fast forward to the harder part. And I mean, for me to see this from a student, to knock this out in 2 weeks, she was practicing like 4 hours a day. And this is middle of school year. So she was highly motivated to create this video. So the motivation alone is worth it. But then when you look back at year after year and the projects that she did, it's, for me as a parent, like Joel mentioned, is invaluable. So I love it for lots of reasons. I can honestly say it's like one of my very favorite parts of teaching is putting my students into this YouTube competition. And now that it's free, we don't actually have judges anymore that judge. And there's some people who are kind of mad about that. They're like, hey, my student practiced really hard and they sounded better than this other one. You know who judges it is just the general population. And so they're not piano teachers. They just say, I like this video. I like that video. I like this one better than that one. And whatever reason it is, and I don't always agree with public opinion, but it does make it so that it's free now. So that's probably a really good benefit. So how do you find the YouTube competition? If you go over to the agenda, if you're watching this video, then you will find, I need to hide this. You'll find the link to the agenda. And on the agenda, if you scroll down to after the resources and useful software, you'll find this thing called free piano video performance contests. And then you will just click on this link here and it'll bring you to this page. And the question is, Joel, is the competition open now? If not, when does it open?
Yeah, it's not quite open yet, but we're planning to open the registration for it here pretty soon. We've just got a few details to work in. So Aaron, he's gonna be sending out an email once that registration is available. And also, if you want to just come back and check our competitions page here for updates, you can check here as well.
You can actually go back to the previous years, last year, and just see who the finalists were. All the way back to, I think we started publishing this on 2015, even though the first competition, I believe, was in 2013. Really cool page and great free resource for you guys. So I would, I'll ask Cheryl Norman. Cheryl, do you remember when you first did this? And Joel, maybe you can spotlight her.
I don't remember exactly. It's been several years though, because I've got all my students on my YouTube channel for at least 4 years, 4 or 5 years. So I've got about 100 performances or more on my YouTube channel, Cheryl Norman Piano. I put them all on there, share them with their families, and I gave a reward for the one that had the most views. Isn't that how you're how they're being judged?
I remember your frustration when you very first did this. It was so hard for you to do your very first videos and put them into the competition. You just about gave up, and then I helped you. I called you and said, hey, I'll help you do it. And so I walked you through it. And then got to see all your students' performances. And after that, the next year, you were able to do it all on your own, and it was much easier. And I was always impressed with your, just the way you pioneer things. You've never stopped learning. You would think you have things figured out by now after being president of UMTA and so many other things that you've done in your piano career, but you never stopped learning. So I was very impressed, like just everything you're adding and always doing new things.
Let me just say one thing. Yesterday, I used Camtasia to edit a video that my husband made that needed to be fixed. And it was so easy. So it's not just for me that I have Camtasia now.
Wow. And he used to be the one helping you out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that. Joel, as we're going into this last portion, can you give us some final tips on what would be the next steps for people?
Yeah, so we were talking about this just before the meeting here, and there's actually, I was trying to think of like, how do I summarize, like what we, I guess, are kind of, need, everything we're learning in this course and working on. So let me share my screen for just a second. And what are like the key, most important things? And let's see. Whose screen are we looking at?
It's your screen. It's that last slide, 38.
Oh, that's weird. It switched me automatically. Okay. So these are kind of the summaries of that. Is this window in the way? Or am I the only one seeing it?
No, but I probably will hide mine.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So the first thing I just want to reiterate, oops, meant to go just to this one, is there's four key things that we talked about. Like if you could take anything from this whole course that we've done, these are kind of like the four things that Aaron and I feel like you really just need to be comfortable with and spend time with. The first one is get to know your camera. So obviously, your phone is your most convenient camera for most people, but that doesn't always mean it's your best quality option either. But whether you're using a cell phone or a GoPro or any other type of camera, it's really important to just make sure that you know how to use your camera as best as possible. And any camera system out there, you can go to YouTube and find lots of tutorials, tips and tricks and things. So, we can't cover in this course all the different cameras because there's just too many options out there. But I would recommend, if you want to increase the quality of your videos, the first thing I recommend is get to know your camera really well. So you know what options it has, how to adjust for, different lighting. Just make sure you're really comfortable with that. So that's the first thing. The second thing, and I know we've talked a lot about this already, is to invest in lighting. It doesn't have to be that expensive. You can get decent lights. Like some of the ones we use there were not very expensive. I don't remember the exact price on some of them, but
they're actually on the agenda, Joel. So
yeah,
they can always refer back to the agenda. Every piece of equipment that we use, we put on there, and we keep adding to it as we find new things that we really like for good prices, good deals.
Yep. And let me just reiterate, the reason that's so important is because if you think about what a video camera is doing, all it's doing is capturing light. It's just capturing light that's reflected off of people and pianos or whatever is in your shot. That's all a camera doing. It's capturing the light and it's turning that light into an image. So controlling the lighting in your shot is it's one of the best things you can do to make your shot look better. And I can tell you from experience that if you have really, really good lighting, then even if you're shooting with a not so good camera, you can get still some really pretty good video footage with that in most cases. So I would say, get some decent lighting and spend a little bit of time using it and making sure that, we talked a lot about like when you see shadows on the face, or if you see parts of the shot that are unevenly lit, this is sort of where you need to step back and take like a bird's eye view of your shot. So lighting is super, super important. The third thing is getting to know your video editor. So we did some tutorials on iMovie. We did DaVinci Resolve. Aaron, you did Camtasia, and what was the other one? Filmora. So there's literally hundreds of video editors out there. So again, we couldn't cover all of them, but whichever video editor you've decided to use and want to use in your workflow, get to know it as best you can. Get to know all of the tools that are available to you, because even in Camtasia, we were just looking this morning, and there's a couple of tools in there that Aaron had mentioned that he hadn't used before in there, he hadn't maybe had a need for it, or at least maybe he doesn't think he's had a need for it yet. But at the same time, just knowing what your options are can really, then your imagination can go to places of, oh, I could do this in my video. This would be really nice. So the more you know about what your video editor can do, the more it'll open up options for you. And then the last thing, oh, by the way, just on number 3, keep in mind too, whether you're talking about iMovie or DaVinci Resolve or any of the others, you can find lots and lots of tutorials that are specific to your video editor in most cases, just by going to YouTube. And go to YouTube and look up how to do this in iMovie, or you could even just look for iMovie beginner course, or iMovie course online or something, and you can find just hundreds of videos on how to do different things in iMovie. And it's worth just kind of getting to know some of that, especially if you've got a project and you're trying to figure out, well, how do I do this in my project? Then those resources are really, at your fingertips with a resource like YouTube. So I'd highly recommend that. You can learn a lot of the things you need on that. So get to know your video editor as best you can. And then the last thing, and Aaron's already hit on this a little bit today, and that is you really need to practice this stuff, because I think I said something in a few meetings ago where it's like, I can't write a book on how to become a pilot and give it to you, and then you say, oh, I read that book, I'm going to go jump in an airplane and start flying today. You can read about how to be a pilot and understand the concepts, but you really have to be able to get in and practice, in a simulator, and practice with a coach and all these things before you're able to fly. And this is kind of what we've been doing, right? We've been working with you guys, having you do these small projects and everything, but this is kind of now time for you to really just get in and practice. Luckily, if you fail in one of these projects, you don't crash a plane. So we're a lot safer. We're a lot safer to try and experiment and try things that, may not necessarily work as well as you thought. And that's okay. You just like we do with piano, right? We have to practice those skills and get better at them each time we go through them. Video editing is very similar in that step. So, practice, practice, practice. And that's why, Aaron had brought up this YouTube competition that's coming up. This is a great opportunity for you guys to practice a lot of the things that you've learned. You can help your students make these videos, get them ready. And it's a great opportunity for the students to show off their skills to their friends and family and to the rest of the world. And
if I might add something on that, I think the biggest trick is to start simple. Like, don't go try to produce a professional movie quality video on your first try. Maybe go back through the simple things and produce the most simple video you can possibly do, upload it and put it on. And then the next step would be to do it again, but add one tiny thing to it. Maybe you can add just a little bit. And then as you keep doing more and more videos, you'll notice that your skills on the other tools like the simple things start to become even more simple, freeing up your mind and your frustration level to go into the more advanced things without frustrating yourself so much that you're like, I don't want to do this ever again.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's great advice, Aaron. And you don't want to overwhelm yourself when you're trying to get into this stuff, because there is so much to learn, in it. And it's sort of like, I take this approach with jazz improvisers a lot too. Sometimes people have a hard time with the idea of how do I even approach improvising with jazz? And because and my analogy for that is it feels like being on a tiny rowboat in the middle of the ocean and you don't know which direction you should be rowing. And for this can be the same kind of thing. There's so much.
Mine did. Or maybe yours did. Okay. So Evelyn, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Joel's computer just froze. So as we are practicing, I want to share with you guys a really fun project that I did this week. I did it with green screen. You guys want to see what I pulled off?
Yes.
Okay. This will be fun. Really crazy little video. You'll see how I did this. Let's see. I'll share the secrets with you, but let me jump in here and just play from right here. You guys are able to see my screen, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's start this thing. All right, let me explain what we have here. We have a bunch of videos that I've recorded. You can see over here in the media bin. And I'm going to put them together. I've done a lot of green screen. Let me just take this video and shrink it down so you can see the other videos that I'm working with. I've already gotten rid of the green screen on these 4. So I need to get rid of the green screen on this one. So let's go ahead and do that first. Well, let's see. Visual effects, go down to green screen, and we're going to drop it on this one here. And we're going to pick a color with the color picker, pick something close to her. Nice. And I'm just going to leave it at 10% for now. And now I've already have my audio and each of these videos in sync. All right, so this is the guitar player. It's a still shot, and this is the guitar player moving, the drums moving, and this is a picture of the stage. So I think what I want to do first is I want to take the picture of the stage and let's just expand it to the entire frame. Okay, now I'm going to put the bass player standing over here, and he needs to be a little bigger. So let's go over to this tool and just increase the size of the bass player till he's about a normal size. And stand him on the floor right in front of there. This one is actually going to be hidden. So let's hide this one. And where's our other drummer? So let's just go ahead and mute this track. This is the bass. Actually, this one right here I'm going to mute. And now let's play it. Okay, so far we've got our drummer in the back who's actually playing the secondo as well. And the primo is actually, I recorded this earlier, so he had long hair and then we cut it and then recorded that again. And I instructed Mason to look over at himself, pretend like you're actually playing with yourself. I think this needs to be a little bigger. He's a little taller than that. And let's move him. You can set him wherever you want. He could stand on the stage over by the drummer or wherever. I think I like kind of right there. Let's see. Let's set him right there and see if that looks good. All right, let's unmute this one. All right, so this one, I think I'm going to expand to the full screen. And we'll probably want to mute everything else when we're doing her solo. Let's go ahead and split the curtains real fast. Whoops, that's the wrong tool. Control Z. Let's split them right here. So we don't want to move it out of place. We just want to open it up. Now there's this track here, the drum, still one we're going to leave. This one we're going to leave. This is bass. And I've lost one of these tracks. It's this one I'm looking for right here. There it is. Let's move this one all the way up to the top. You can just drag it. I got click stuck it, here and I couldn't drag it up. figure out how to drag it.
For some reason, it's not letting me drag that track. Oh,
I finally
wait a
figured
minute.
it out, though.
Okay, we definitely found the right track.
It wouldn't let me grab it and move it. So I finally got, I was successful in dragging, I think I grabbed the duet one. I don't know how to fast forward this part.
Come on. There it is.
So now I realized I can remove my duet. This is really helpful to learn that how you can drag your tracks on top, on bottom. And I'm trying to drag the bass one that's moving to the top and then I'll mute it. I think I finally just ended up dragging that below and then I could drag the bass one up.
Okay, so we're moving this one up to the top so that we can kind of edit it. Now let's fill the screen with this one again. And now I can see the drummer up here. I can make him fill the entire screen too. Because this is a close-up, you're going to have to do the whole screen on this. Also, I have his transparency set really high, so let's edit his transparency really quickly.
got to get rid of as much green as I can without removing his guitar. Though the transparency is kind of a cool effect. I kind of like that. All right, well, we can play with that a little later. We can just mute this track, and we can mute, or we can split it. So let's go ahead and do a split track thing, highlight it, split. We'll open the curtains so you can see behind it. We can bring. Okay, so I'll stop there. But you can see it's kind of a video trick on how you can let somebody play with themselves in a band. So Miley's playing the drums, and she's also playing the secondo, and Mason's playing the piano, and he's also playing the drum kit. It's a cool project that Mason and Miley will never forget. And they learned a song that was actually kind of tricky for them. Miley had never played the drums before. And I said, hey, do you want to try to play the drums? And she said, yeah, let me try it. And so she loves drums now. She just learned it in Piano Marvel, just like she learned the piano part. And it was the coolest thing for her to learn how to do that. And then Mason said, I've never played the bass. So we did the same thing with him. He connected to Piano Marvel with his electric bass and learned the bass part. And so that was really fun. So we have reached the point in, let's see, I'm going to stop sharing my screen in the presentation where we ask you questions. What did you like about this session? What did you learn? What was your favorite parts? What do you wish you had more of? What do you want to do next, type of thing. So let's go ahead and just open the forum up to people. Does anybody have a question? Cheryl.
Aaron, I thought you were going to show us how to put background things on the green screen. In some of the videos last February and March,
Okay.
there were students performing, and then they had background things of mountains and streams and that kind of thing. How do you put
let me write this down. So you're talking about a background, not a still picture, but like a video background.
Yes.
Okay, let me write that down. Video background. I can show you that in no time at all. Okay, just so I can organize how we spend our time the best. What other questions do we have?
This is Lori, and I just had a question on the licensing for the songs. I've tried to post things on YouTube before, and so if there's ever a copyright issue, YouTube will flag it. And so I'm just wondering what the copyright issues might be, if we have to pay licensing or anything like that.
Okay, that's an excellent question. I would first start by saying everything has changed now. Google went into a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit over the matter about copyright, and they ended up doing a huge project where they just could not control everybody who was putting copyrighted stuff in. So what they did was they came up with a solution, and that is when they flag something, instead of taking it down, they allow the copyright holder to get the revenue stream that would be going to whoever put that music up. So if somebody puts a pop song up and they get like 6 million views, well, YouTube will start, instead of paying that person for views, they actually pay the copyright holder instead, which allows the person who wanted to use the copyrighted song to still use it. They just don't get paid for it. The copyright holder actually gets paid, which is really nice. You will still get a notice if you put up a pop song. YouTube will flag it, and they will tell you, and they'll send you an email and say, hey, your song's been, or your video's been flagged. And they will also mention that this doesn't mean we're going to take it down, just know you're not going to get paid for it. That actually takes that problem out of your hands. So be grateful for that one. I would also, when you do background music, you can always do a search for free, no copyright music that you can use. And that either you can buy music, or you can look for copyright free music. So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're only affected if you're trying to monetize it.
That's correct.
This has happened to 2 or 3 of our videos recently. There's no, like, you don't get in trouble or anything. It's just saying you can't earn any money.
Right.
Yeah, let me just add to that unfortunately, even though Aaron is right that in most cases that's what will happen, but if the record label or copyright holder still persists, like, hey, no, this is not, an approved use of this song, then YouTube will pull the video down. And so a good example might be like, for example, Disney is known for being a bit more picky about how their music is used than, let's say, other publishers and so forth. So, for example, there still is the possibility your video could be pulled down, even with the way that YouTube is doing things. So it's a lot less likely to happen now than it used to. But just keep in mind that, for example, John Williams is a composer who's known to be particularly picky about how his music is used. So certain Star Wars things sometimes are a little harder to pass than some other ones. So it's not that it 100% can't happen, but just in most cases, you should be fine if you're posting it on YouTube. And it also helps if you put, let's say you're doing a song and you put the song title, but then you add onto it like piano cover or something like that, so that people, YouTube may flag it, but then you're not trying to falsely represent the song and say, oh yeah, this is the original. Instead, you're saying, well, no, this is a piano cover of this piece. I think YouTube kind of prefers that you do that in your title to keep it so you're not trying to mislead people into thinking it's the original recording of that song.
Excellent point.
I just have a question. So did you have to pay Bon Jovi to license that, or are you just allowed to do an arrangement of it?
Nope, we just did an arrangement of it, and we don't get paid anything for it, even if we have 1 billion views on it.
So
Bon Jovi gets it.
yeah,
or whoever
so
owns
YouTube will still probably run ads on stuff like that, but then what they're going to do is they're going to give a portion of the proceeds to the music publisher or record label that that song is listed under. So we still have the ability in that case to make a song with that. We're just not going to make any money off of the YouTube views, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a couple questions about the YouTube competition.
Yes.
So does it typically start on December 1st?
We opened it up early last year. Normally we waited till January 1st, but last year we opened it on December 1st, and now we're considering opening it on November 1st and possibly even year round.
Oh, because I was going to ask you, I don't remember. I feel like I was talking with Heidi or you or someone about potentially having more than one opportunity to do this throughout the year. So I was going to ask about that. And then the other thing is, if it's based on views and likes, I assume there's more opportunity if you get your video in as early as
Get it
it's
in
available.
early. Yeah. It is true. So we're trying to figure out in the future what's going to be the best solution, and we're always trying new things. So if you have ideas, we are happy to try new things too. This last year was the first time we tried to do it without a judge, and we said we're going to take the fee off and not hire judges this year. I think it made everything more simple because there was no payment processing, and so the entering the videos became much easier. But we're still open to trying different ideas and hearing feedback from people. So Cami, if you have some ideas, we're all ears.
Oh.
Again, the whole purpose of this, the entire purpose is to give your students an outlet so that they are excited to learn.
Yeah, I was gonna say earlier that one benefit that I've seen for myself and my students from recording, and that is that you as a performer I do this before performances. I'll record myself and watch the performance because, and probably a lot of, teachers are familiar with this. You have an objective view. Like I didn't know I was making puckering, gestures with my lips until I watched the video, or I didn't know I was emphasizing the volume in one part of my song. The dynamics were too loud. And it was because I was thinking about other things while I was performing and didn't recognize that. So the students have that as well. And I like to have them listen to their performance compared to somebody else's performance and what makes it individual, their own, and how they want to morph it into what they want it to be. So that's another way I love using recordings, so they can get that feedback that they just don't have the ability to when they're in the middle of the performance. They can't, there's so much going on in your head, when you're performing, that it's easier to step away and be like, oh yeah, I can hear things a little better.
Yeah, there's no doubt that it is a phenomenal teaching device, doing video recordings with your students.
Well, and one more question. Sorry. You said bring questions. We brought questions.
Perfect. So, I got a pencil. I'm going to write them all down.
So we're considering teaching our studio step by step, little steps, one at a time, how to record, all of the things you've been talking about, the lighting, everything like that. But also, how to use DaVinci Resolve potentially, because the free version is so robust that it might give them the most options. And if they have somebody holding their hand, they can have it for free and kind of learn how to use it. But my question is, we've used Camtasia and loved it, but it costs money. So we want to offer our students a free option that works on both PC and Mac. And does the free version of DaVinci Resolve have things that, or does Camtasia have things that the free version of DaVinci Resolve does not have?
I don't know.
I would say the biggest difference there is Camtasia has kind of an emphasis on screen capture. That's kind of what it was like originally intended for, was to like capture like either the screen or your webcam. And then, Camtasia is kind of conveniently helps you like mix those things together. So I would say the biggest difference is DaVinci Resolve isn't, you can certainly edit screen captures and all that. It just doesn't have all the built-in screen capture tools that Camtasia has. So it is a more powerful editor though. So if you're planning to shoot video like with your iPhone or another camera and then put it in to an editor, DaVinci Resolve is definitely the more powerful editor.
The biggest problem, Joel, with that is that Camtasia is probably easier to learn than DaVinci Resolve. But Cami, if you're doing videos that train your students how to use DaVinci Resolve, you've solved the problem.
Yeah, well, I say he would do it. But,
there you go.
Yeah, it's like when I did my tutorial of DaVinci Resolve a month or so ago, there's literally 1,000 options in there that we just ignored and said, here's all we really need for doing this edit.
Right.
And I think that was one where we did a multicam, few 2 or 3 camera angle kind of deal. So I think the main thing when you're using something like DaVinci Resolve is, even though there's a lot of options, you don't have to use all of those options. And so it's just a matter of if you can train the students on, like, hey, don't worry about all this other stuff, just here's the buttons and the steps that you need to take, and train them on that, then then it should be okay. It's just that all the extra buttons and stuff can potentially distract them. But yeah, I mean, I guess to answer your question though, DaVinci Resolve is definitely the more powerful editor. If you're taking, footage from your camera and then you want to take it in and, modify it in a variety of ways.
Okay, yeah, because we're kind of doing the same thing with MuseScore that, most new students are like, I don't know how to compose. And we just say, okay.
And they can't afford Finale or Sibelius.
Right.
So
Yeah,
MuseScore's a great option for that. So I think DaVinci Resolve is your choice, your best choice, because it works on Mac and PC.
Right.
Cool. Thanks.
Now, keep in mind though, that the user interface might be just a tiny bit different between the Mac and PC. So you might want to do a little checking on that, because I've found that a lot of programs that are designed for Mac and PC, they don't always put the exact buttons in the exact same place. I off the top of my head, I don't know with DaVinci Resolve if that's the case, but I know I have seen that a lot, because I don't edit on a PC. So I'm not really sure. I haven't
and that's an excellent point. So Cami, just when you produce a video and half of your user base is Mac, half is PC, you just want to make sure that you cover your bases on both.
Right.
Yeah, we found that with Piano Marble too, because we have iPad and
Yeah.
and we do tutorials on how to use Piano Marble, and we're like,
and same thing with what was it, Finale. It's different on PC than it is on Mac.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Great questions. Cheryl, I was thinking about how to answer your question, how to do a video background. I can't demonstrate that for you during our live session because my camera is being utilized by Zoom. So what I'm going to do is when I create this last video, I'll put it on the agenda and show you step by step how to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. I would like to know, what was the most useful things about this whole session?
How to use the editing software.
The editing software?
Yeah, Camtasia.
Okay. So learning how to use Camtasia, just step by step.
The lighting tricks.
Lighting tricks.
Lighting.
I was going to say the creativity of seeing what kinds of things are possible.
Yeah, kind of give you ideas of what you can do with your students. So you want to try those new things. And that's kind of why I wanted to show you what I did with this drum kit and the bass guitar. I don't expect everybody's going to run out there and say, oh, I want to do that. But now it's in the back of your mind. And if the chance arises for you to do a cool project like that, you've seen it done. And so you'll be able to say, okay, let's research on how to do that a little. So yeah, just the ideas of cool things that you can do.
I appreciated the list of equipment that you guys have used. I mean, that can be overwhelming to decide what's good, what works, what's good quality, but still a bang for the buck. So I appreciate you putting those in the agenda.
Well, and trying them all out so that you can tell us which ones are not so great.
Yeah, don't buy this one. Yeah, honestly, we've probably spent a ton of money and time just researching what things to get and what to use. And we've tried so many things that haven't used. And so we just throw those out and don't make you guys spend all the money and time figuring that out. That's super helpful.
and how to record the audio separately.
Oh yeah.
Digitally.
Oh yes,
That was
That's
brand
a-
new for us.
the Hollywood tricks on how to do the in studio recordings and sync them up.
I have another question.
Yes.
So I'm trying to keep this as feasible for my students as possible, since they're doing it on their own and we're teaching them how to do it. As far as a green screen, and maybe the cost is not that much different, but could they potentially use any like large sheet that's a saturated color, something like that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If they use blue and they have blue eyes, you're going to erase their eyes.
Okay.
Blue jeans, their jeans are going to disappear. So the reason why the green screen is chosen is because who in the world is going to wear that color green?
I have a St. Patrick's Day shirt, but that's about it.
So on St. Patrick's Day, you have to use a different background. You can use any color to do that, really.
Okay.
The texture is the hard thing. If you have something that has a texture that creates shadows, it changes the color and it makes it hard to take out. So trying to get a flat sheet with a flat color that's not shiny, that's your best bet. Great point. So
I appreciate everything.
Ada, thank
very
you.
much. You're welcome.
Oh, and the ideas from the participants, we've applied them to our recitals. It's, you know,
Just a group of people here that have joined us and shared their videos with us. Those have been really, really great. Thank you. Well, Joel, do you have any parting words? This is the end of the end. We are finished with this. I still have 2 videos to produce for the agenda. Let me really quickly I cannot emphasize, I'll close with what we started with from the very beginning. Let me share my screen. Cannot emphasize enough how valuable for you guys this, let me hide this screen, it's in my way, how valuable this agenda is. It starts off with some really cool things on how to register, but then tip number 1, one of the most important tips I can teach teachers is to charge for their time. Your time is extremely valuable as a teacher. You could spend hours on doing this for free. I make it part of my lesson time. Like sometimes that's all we do for the day is a song that they've been working on. Today's lesson is we're going to take this hour or half hour, whatever it is, and we're going to produce a video. We're going to work through it. We're going to look at the lighting. They like that sort of thing. This stuff is invaluable for them. Don't hide it in the background. Make it part of their lesson. And it's, you'll start to regret not charging them for the time. You'll start getting frustrated. So make it part of your regular lesson. Tip number 2, second most important tip is to improve their video skills, is to practice. Make lots of videos. Cannot emphasize that enough. Doesn't have to be hard ones. Make easy ones, and then just keep adding a little bit at a time. So third step was improve your skills, starting easy, getting harder. I think I repeated that same thing. And then use this for your first studios, like your students, when they go to produce their own videos, start them off on just the easy things and have them start with that. And then maybe the next year you can say, we're going to go into an intermediate type of lesson. And maybe the year after, we're going to do some advanced techniques. These resources that you have on here, this is going to be super helpful because you can click on this video for a 15-minute breakdown of this very first one. And then this one is a 5-minute, 11-second breakdown of how to do small improvements.
How was your vacation?
18 minutes. And then, so use these things. You can see I've got 2 videos that I have not put up here. Today's video is going to go in here. So you have these resources for you whenever you need them. the equipment, we are continuing to add things. Like I noticed I didn't put my Bose speaker. I'm going to put that Bose speaker on this list. I've tried it out. It works phenomenally well. So I'll put that on there. The video editing software is here. And then this one, like we're going to continue to add as we find performance opportunities for you guys to put in competitions. You'll have this link here and then the project ideas. Really, really helpful stuff. So if I click on project ideas, it brings you over to this other Google Doc that I'm continuing to add new project ideas on, and just show you like how I did this Cantina one or the Star Wars one where I put the video in the background. The Stomp video, just give you ideas. You feel free to just recreate some of these same videos if you want to use the same exact one with Stomp and have 3 pianos and have the kids, you know, coming around. It's really fun. Feel free to use these things and use this agenda. So with that, I would like to thank everybody who's attended and thank Joel especially for his time and energy that he's donating for you guys to help learn how to do video editing. He has so many hours under his belt on how to produce professional quality videos, and his tips have been invaluable for me, and I'm sure for many of you guys. So send Joel.
Aaron?
Yes.
Aaron, I just would like to express my appreciation for all the work that you and Joel have been doing. I've been part of Piano Marvel since near the beginning, and you and Joel just have always cared about the teacher and the students and increasing their love of what they're doing. Piano Marvel is a jewel, and I so appreciate your constant iteration of educating us as teachers to help the experience for the student. It just cannot be said enough. The thank you is just beyond my heart. I really, really appreciate what you've been doing over the years.
Well, thank you. That means a lot to us, Evelyn. And I do hope you guys can feel like we really love teaching people. We love people. People are, it's what makes everything worth it, is the relationships we build and the lives we can change. So that's what makes everything fun and engaging. So thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you, Evelyn.
Thank you too.
Thank you, Aaron and Joe.
We want to second that over here too, because you know, it makes it so easy for us to have zero reservations about promoting these tools. And I was just telling Brandon, I'm like, I can't believe they're doing this course for free. I mean, all of the expertise that went into this and the time and that's a gift. I mean, normally you would have to pay for this kind of information. And we, you know, we're huge fans, you know, we're huge fans of all the experience that we've had with you. And I was going to throw in 2 more benefits of videos, if I can get them in real quick.
Absolutely.
So I deal with a lot of performance anxiety. I always have. And creating videos is a way for me to be able to perform without being paralyzed. And I think a lot of students deal with that too. And if you give them that opportunity, it's so great because they can have an impact on other people when before it might have been a little hard for them. And the other thing is that people who can't come to the recital for one reason or another, if they have a video of their performance, they can just share it. It's so easy. They just hit the share button and send it to grandma and she's got it. You know, she was sick, she couldn't come. Now she gets to watch it, so.
Yeah, we're living in a very different world than we were 10 years ago. And you guys are pioneering things that nobody's ever done, nobody's ever had to do before. And I think the piano teacher is going to look, you know, 5 years from now and say, oh, I have to get into this. And you guys are already going to be 5 years already into it and knowing what you're doing. And you will be the ones helping that next group of teachers learn how to do it. So, well, thank you, everybody. This wraps up our 9-week project. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. It's been fun, and I've learned a lot. So we'll see you guys later. Have great, successful experiences recording videos, and we look forward to seeing a ton of them in the YouTube competition coming up. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.